Releasing just after Chinese New Year and based on both a true story and a TV series of the same name comes yet another Chinese sports movie. And I love sports movies, regardless of the sport. Hi, I'm the Artie Dance from Asian Film Fans, and this is my review of the 2023 Chinese New Year sports movie Ping Pong: The Triumph. In 1991, Chinese ping pong was at an all-time low. Looking for a new head coach to usher them through an era of success, Tai is given a job after he promises the Sports Bureau to win the prestigious Swatherland Cup within 2 years. Assembling a team of what could only be described as misfits, because that's what the movie calls them, he and the other coaches train them hard, pushing them to learn the skills and techniques of European players. But after 2 years they fall short, losing to the Swedes, and the team is disbanded. But then, the team is brought back together again, where they train for another 2 years and take out the 1995 championship in Tianjin. So it's worth prefacing this review yet again by reminding you that I do love sports movies, and regardless of the sport, I love movies based on it. And unfortunately for me, none of the sports that I really like has ever had a good movie based on it, or maybe even any movies based on it. So I tend to kind of latch onto any kind of sports movies. And there's a strange new trend in Chinese cinema for sports movies. Now, we saw this a few years ago with Leap, which was a volleyball movie based on the story of Lang Ping. And while it was good, it wasn't great. And it missed what makes sports movies truly exciting. And that is the actual sport itself. This movie fixes that problem because it focuses on the sport, which is great. And for once, I can't really complain about the CGI in a Chinese film, because while the film is full of CGI, and it really is, honestly, how else do you expect a bunch of actors to be able to play table tennis so well? The CGI kind of fits in with the film. So sure, some of the crowds look fake. I mean, how else do you expect them to kind of fill crowds up so easily? But damn, those action shots of the players whacking the ball at each other, they look really, really good. Which then leads us to focus. What is the movie really about? Now, there's a lot of time spent that's focusing on the coach, but very little on the players. And off memory, I can only think of 2 players that we actually find out any bit of information beforehand. And then throughout the movie, there's another 2 players that are kind of given a little bit of development. But there are some players, like the 2 young guys, that we're given no real backstory about. We don't know really why they're there at the Sports Bureau. We don't know why they were selected to be there in the first place. So a little bit more character development wouldn't have hurt. Now, the lead actor in this movie is Chao, and he has directed this film, or co-directed this film, with a longtime collaborator of his, Baimei. Now, they, as far as I know, they last worked together on a 2019 film, a very endearing drama called Looking Up. But when you have 2 directors, it makes you wonder who did what, and at what vibe were they going for with the film. Now, unlike Leap, which was a serious, straight-up film that never deviated off that serious line, Ping Pong adds a lot of humour to the mix. Now, that breaks up some of the tension in the scenes, which is great. It's nice to laugh every now and again and adds a bit of silliness. And I have to say that I do prefer that kind of element than over the serious line that Leap takes, where you get 2 hours and 20 minutes of just plain seriousness. Now, having talked about Cheng Dao, when we talk about performances, it's worth noting that his real-life wife, Li Sun, plays his movie wife in the movie. And because they're married in real life, the scenes that they're together, they're believable because they have actual tension. They fight like a couple. They celebrate like a couple. It's realistic. It comes through. Now, she's playing the role of a strong Shanghainese woman. And I don't know much about Shanghainese women, but I've been told they are very kind of headstrong and don't take any shit from anyone. And there is a great scene towards the middle of the film where she's kind of sticking up for her husband, where he's accused of living this luxurious life, and there's a couple of guys from the bureau sitting there kind of chewing him out, and she stands up for him. It's a great scene in the movie, but my guess is that in real life, that scene would have gone a lot different. But the movie has to movie, and when it does do movie, it movies very well, if you would get what I'm trying to say to you. The players, when they get a chance to be on screen, they do a good job as well. Bowen Duan, who plays the conflicted mixed doubles champion who has never won a singles championship in his life. He's the one that we focused on at the end of the movie to win the championship for China. He's introduced in a rather cute and kind of funny way, where he's sitting in a classroom trying to learn primary aged English, or elementary if you're American, with a bunch of what looks to be 6, 7, 8-year-old Chinese students. They're there with him in this English class, and they even show him the mistakes that he's made in his English lesson. So that's you get a kind of a cute scene that here's a guy he's trying to do something a little bit different for himself, and we find out that he has family back in Australia, which is why he's trying to learn English. But the real surprise, acting-wise, of the movie comes in the form of a little cameo from a one Mr. Wu Jing of Wolf Warrior fame. Now, he has a couple of very brief cameos in the film, and it's only towards the middle where we see him again after Coach Tsai has been kind of sacked, that we see him actually say something. But what we do get to see is Wu Jing in glasses, which kind of makes him look a little bit like a nerd, and doesn't make him look like the Wolf Warrior that we all know, and certainly doesn't make him look like the brave astronaut from The Wandering Earth 2, which was his other Chinese New Year movie. So in the end, sports movies like this live and die on their action scenes, because the drama throughout is fairly standard sports movie trope. And in fact, you can probably think back that the way that this movie plays out is kind of like even a superhero film. It is standard. You can go into every Marvel movie, and this is probably the reason I hate Marvel movies with a passion, is that they all identical. They just change the characters around. And this movie kind of reminded me of an early Marvel movie. You've got a scenario that needs to be achieved. You've got a team that needs to be assembled. They fail. They have a self-reflection. They get back together, and they achieve their goal at the end. That is exactly the playbook that this movie follows. So if you like Marvel movies, if you like those kind of action movies, but you want to see it in a sports form, then that's what this movie provides to you. You've seen movies like this a dozen times before. It's not original the way that the story is told. You're just now seeing it with table tennis and some really fancy CGI. And yes, there is a montage in the movie. There is a great training montage about 20-30 minutes in. So it has everything that you're expecting from a movie like this. So to give it a rating, I think it sits comfortably as a 3-star movie. It's a long film, but the first 90 minutes go through really quickly. I checked the video at one point when I was watching it, and to tell me it was an hour 30 through the movie, and I thought, wow, that 90 minutes has gone really quick. It doesn't feel like that. And so that's how engaging the film was. And the table tennis scenes, there's kind of not enough of them. It really needed more table tennis scenes, but the ones that are there are done really well. It's obvious that they're done on CGI and through computer, but they are still pretty exciting. So your liking of the movie will depend on how much you like those sports movie tropes and how much you like those kind of movie tropes in total. And if you can stand Chao Deng on screen long enough. I still personally think Shadow is his best movie. So if all of these kind of hit the mark for you, this is probably a movie you should check out. Ping Pong, The Triumph. Now, if you have seen it, tell me what you think of it. Leave a comment below. Otherwise, press like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing to Asian Film Fans to keep up to date with our movie reviews and other news such as translated English trailers. Otherwise, we'll catch you next time.